Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to SpaceWeek Live, episode 145, on this Sunday, January the 15th, 2023. So, I took a break last week because not only was there only one launch the previous week, but also I needed to take a day for myself, which happens now and then. So, if you'll please forgive me for that, but we will make up for it this week. First, I wanted to give you an update on the status of this channel. I was informed early last week by YouTube that my channel was being demonetized again. So I had a period of about 5 months of demonetization last year before I was able to get it reinstated. And then just a couple of months later, they yanked it again. And it was very deflating for me. It's become clear that my channel's model is unacceptable to the YouTube partner program. They are never going to allow me to retain monetization on a permanent basis, and that is because of the launch live streams. I mean, they don't specifically say that in their reasoning. They just say reused content. But I mean, that's what it is. It's the fact that I restream launches from around the world. I tried cleaning up the channel. I deleted about 2/3 of my videos from the past 5 years I've been doing this in an attempt to leave basically only the videos that I quote unquote added value to by either providing commentary or additional information in the stream or something like that. I reworked a lot of my live streams to incorporate informative news tickers and extra countdown numbers and like pics in pics views of live feeds from various cameras and an ISS tracker for missions that were applicable to the ISS. None of it mattered. YouTube demonetized me anyway. So, like I said, it was very deflating, and I'm basically done trying to be monetized on this platform. I am very angry with YouTube, and and furthermore, their treatment of creators and channels is very uneven. So there are other channels that do restreaming like I do, yet they are fully monetized and have had no problems. Additionally, there are other channels much younger than mine who've only been restreaming for about a year that get consistently 10 to 20 times the number of viewers that I do. And there's never been any rhyme or reason to that. Like the live streams are virtually identical, but for some reason, the young channel that has, basically just started doing this gets many times the number of viewers that I do. And, even while my channel has been shrinking over the course of the last year, theirs has been absolutely exploding. And I don't know why that is. I've reached out to them more than once. I never got a response. I've brought it up with YouTube. All they have to say is that their system is working normally. The algorithm is functioning as it's designed, and they encouraged me to know my audience in order to to increase my, my view rates or click rates or whatever. But that's a load of BS, because for the same exact content, different channels are receiving very different results from the platform. So I'm pretty much done with it. Like YouTube, they do not see the value in content aggregation like I do. Bringing launch live streams to you from around the world so that you don't have to go to half a dozen different places to view them. They do not see the value in that, at least in terms of monetization. And they never will. Yeah. So whatever their calculus is, it has excluded me. And yeah, I'm mad about it. I'm bitter about it. It sucks. It's not fair. But it is what it is. And I have to proceed going forward in whatever fashion best serves my own mental well-being and my own desires. So I will be posting the videos that I want to post. I will be streaming the streams that I want to stream. And I will be including the music that I want to include, regardless of whether there's a copyright claim on it or not, because that won't matter to me, honestly, not being monetized. So less money, but more freedom. That said, I have been taking a break from live streaming the launches, as you may have noticed this past week, and I will very likely continue to do so. I may live stream some launches. For example, there's a Falcon Heavy launch later today that I will provide a stream for, because Falcon Heavies are special and they don't happen very often. But a lot of launches I will not be live streaming, because honestly, there is very little additional benefit to me giving you the exact same content that SpaceX is giving you, except that we have our own little community here where we can chat, outside of the madhouse that's that is a SpaceX live stream, except they don't allow live chat, so you can't even chat there. In any case, yeah, I wanted to give you an update. I do plan to continue doing SpaceWeek for the time being. I have real challenges with motivation. It's hard to feel like this is worth the effort. I mean, I feel like it is worth the effort, but it's hard to summon the motivation to actually do it when I'm being basically bludgeoned by the platform. But here we are, and I have a lot of information for you today. So let's get to it. I have a couple of weeks to catch up on, so let's start with 2 weeks ago. In the first week of the new year, there was actually only one launch. And that was the main reason why I skipped SpaceWeek last week. On January 3rd was the SpaceX launch of Transporter 6, which was the 6th transporter mission to carry 114 satellites up to a sun-synchronous polar low Earth orbit. Those satellites were deployed in, well, there were 82 deployments, and so some of those deployments involved deploying a carrier spacecraft, a small carrier spacecraft, which would then subsequently deploy additional satellites. So there were more satellites on board ultimately than there were deployments. But there were a total of 82 deployments. Something like 74 of them were confirmed in real time by SpaceX, and the remaining ones, they didn't have live communication at the time, and so they had to, some of those might have taken some time to verify that the deployment was nominal and that the satellites were functioning. But let's get going with the launch.
T-minus 15. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And liftoff.
So the live stream of Transporter 6 was special for this channel because I live hosted it, which I don't normally do. And the purpose for that was that I had partnered with one of the satellite owners, EOS Data Analytics, based in California and operating largely out of Ukraine, who are the owners and operators of the EOS SAT-1 satellite, which was the first of 7 satellites that will comprise their constellation of agriculturally focused remote sensing satellites to monitor, crop growth, soil conditions, et cetera, which I discussed at length last week. And I featured an interview with 2 individuals from EOS Data Analytics, a technician and an agricultural scientist, that were very informative and a great deal of fun to do. But yeah, so the live stream last week or 2 weeks ago, was pretty unique, and their satellite was successfully deployed. Now, if we fast forward to the landing, here you go.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
And there is successful shutdown of those Merlin engines. Now, as we are slowing down, re-entering the Earth's atmosphere, if you're in the Florida area, you may hear some sonic booms.
Stage 1 FTS has safed.
We are attempting to recover this booster for the 15th time today, targeting this landing at landing zone 1. We've got just one more burn, which is the landing burn on the first stage. We'll ignite just a single center Merlin engine. That'll happen just before touchdown.
Stage 1 transonic.
On the right-hand side of your screen, we've got a ground view of stage 1. You can see the center engine
Stage
has
1
ignited.
landing burn.
We'll expect to see the 4
Stage
landing
2
legs
terminal
deployed
guidance
for a soft touchdown at landing zone 1. Now, during this, we'll also hear a call out of second engine cutoff on the second stage.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy.
SECO.
Stage 1 landing confirmed.
So landing is complete. We also heard a
Beautiful landing there, and some great views of the Cape coming down. Now, there were over 80 satellite deployments, but let's go right to the end, and it turns out the very last payload was EOS SAT-1, which I had discussed at such length during that live stream. And here's the final deployment. And it looks like they were actually, I believe they were actually over Antarctica at the time, which is why everything is white.
Dragonfly Aerospace, EOS SAT-1, separation confirmed.
Now, some of the let's pause that. Some of the satellites, as they were deployed, they looked to be kind of tumbling willy-nilly, and I don't know if that was a problem or if they're able to correct for that. But it was interesting watching them all well, we didn't get to see them all deploy, but watching the ones that we did get to see deploy, because they, some of them shot straight out, and others just kind of fell off the vehicle and kind of tumbled. But hopefully all the satellites were able to stabilize their attitudes and function for their operators. Now, last week, space got busy again. Last Sunday, a Long March 7A launched Shijian 23 from Wenchang Satellite Launch Center on an island in southern China. Per official sources, it will mainly be used for scientific experiments and technical verification. Didn't get to see much of the launch, but there it was. Now, Monday saw a flurry of activity with 3 launches and an undocking. Kicking things off, a Chinese Series 1 rocket, that's CERES, launched from Zhuquan in the Gobi Desert with 5 commercial smallsats. I like that little, hold on, let me rewind this. I like that little taikonaut there with the little flag. That's cute. All right. Sorry for the delay. That afternoon, SpaceX Cargo Dragon CRS-26 undocked from the space station, bound for a safe splashdown so that it can continue to be reused. They didn't have a live video feed during the actual undocking, but we did get to see some nighttime views of the Cargo Dragon with its RCS thrusters puffing away, doing their thing. Also last Monday, Virgin Orbit attempted the first ever orbital launch originating from British soil, indeed the first in Western Europe, in a mission called Start Me Up. They name their missions after famous songs by artists under the Virgin Records label. The distinction of first launch originating from British soil is rather specific, because when the rocket's engine ignited, it wasn't over British soil anymore. That's because the Launcher 1 rocket is air-launched. Also, Virgin Orbit is an American company, even though its founder, Sir Richard Branson, is in fact British. On board the Launcher 1 rocket were 9 small satellites bound for low Earth orbit. Launcher 1's carrier aircraft, a 22-year-old Boeing 747 called Cosmic Girl that previously flew passengers for Virgin Atlantic, one of the other Virgin Group companies, took off from Spaceport Cornwall near the southwest tip of England, with the Launcher 1 rocket mounted under the left wing. Here's the takeoff.
Some practice runs out there off the coast. Cosmic Girl is now on the runway taking off. Off the ground. Godspeed Launcher 1, Godspeed Cosmic Girl on this historic both European and UK mission to open space for everyone.
Now, Cosmic Girl then flew out over the Atlantic, past Ireland, and then flew a racetrack-shaped circuit once off the southwest coast of Ireland, then released Launcher 1. They didn't have a live view of the release, but we did see the fuel and O2 levels going down, indicating that the rocket was on its way. A few seconds later, we did get to see the view from the rocket cam. About 4 minutes after engine ignition was stage separation and stage 2. There we go. Was stage separation and stage 2 ignition. Keep your eye on the rocket speed on the left side.
Shutdown is reported as nominal.
Now, either Virgin Orbit was having trouble with their telemetry, or they secretly invented faster-than-light travel. That's 4,041,000,000 miles per hour, or 6 times faster than the speed of light. Going from 8,029 miles per hour to over 4 billion miles per hour in 2 seconds would result in 92 million Gs of acceleration force, assuming Virgin didn't also develop an inertial dampening system akin to Star Trek. 92 million Gs would not merely vaporize the rocket, it would compress the atoms so densely that a black hole would form in Earth's upper atmosphere. Or perhaps it was just a telemetry glitch. Let's keep playing.
And if we can go back to our aft camera.
Bearing brake wire is broken.
We have stage separation. You may see dropouts in the data during the flight here. That is expected as we're switching between the different ground stations that are picking up the signal from the rocket.
Now this is a view from the front of the rocket looking up at the payload, and the sort of dim shape, the dim curved shape might have actually been the Earth. It's really hard to tell, but it's the dead of night. It was the dead of night there at the time, so whoops. Let me advance this. All right. If we fast forward a couple of minutes, the stage 2 burn is proceeding, though the telemetry is still all over the place, jumping from 11,000 miles per hour to 9,000 to 4 billion and back to 0. The flight timeline kept jumping from S2 ignition to payload deployment and back. They even got a Google Chrome snap web page error, which you see there. The telemetry graphics they provided are very cool and informative. I'd love to see more of that sort of thing from other launch providers versus just showing talking heads at a desk, but there are definitely some kinks to work out. Once the speed dropped to 0, the visualization showed the rocket still increasing in altitude, going straight up on a zenith trajectory. That's not how orbital rockets work.
This might take a little while for us to get to second engine cutoff 1.
The altitude jumped from 596,000 feet to 988,000, dropped back down, then flew completely off the map to 11 quintillion feet. That's 355 light years, or 83 times farther than Proxima Centauri. At one point, the altitude showed negative 10 quintillion feet, though there could have been even more zeros that we couldn't see because the number was cut off by the fuel levels graphic. In the end, it wasn't just the telemetry that was screwy. Something went wrong with the upper stage, and the rocket and the payloads were lost. Credit to stargazer Lanzarote for this video of the re-entry taken from Lanzarote, one of the Canary Islands off the coast of North Africa. What exactly happened isn't entirely clear. It's been mentioned that the O2 appeared to be depleting faster than it should have been, but it's hard to know for sure since the telemetry readings were all over the place. All the numbers were fluctuating up and down and going off scale. The second stage also appeared to cut off too early, but in the end, and Virgin Orbit hasn't specified what their analysis has revealed as the root cause of the anomaly, but it's unfortunate news for Virgin Orbit, who have experienced 2 failures in 6 launches. That's not a great record. Could be worse, but the company also has funding issues, drawing largely from the deep pockets of its founder, Sir Richard Branson. But we'll see what happens and how they recover from this. But it was a good attempt. Unfortunately, was not successful. Now, rounding out Monday, SpaceX launched from Cape Canaveral with the 16th OneWeb mission, consisting of 40 more broadband internet satellites.
15 seconds. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Engines full power. And liftoff of Falcon 9. Go Falcon, go OneWeb 2.
Pitching downrange.
Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from
Yes, it has. Here is the booster landing.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
Great news. As you heard that call out and can see on your screen, we have reignited 3 of the 9 M1D engines on the first stage. That's the center E9 engine, followed by the E1 and E5 engines.
Stage 1 entry burn shut down. Stage 1 FTS is saved.
It's less than a 20-second burn, and as you can see, the engines have shut down. That concludes the entry burn for the first stage
Both
vehicle.
vehicles continue to follow nominal trajectories.
Now we are just about 30 seconds away from the landing burn beginning on the first stage vehicle. It is just the E9 engine that will ignite for landing, and the M1D engines have about 190,000 pounds of thrust, so one engine reigniting is just enough to help slow the vehicle down in time to touch down for landing.
Stage 2 FTS is saved.
Stage 1 landing burn.
There you can see the landing burn has begun on Falcon 9. Let's watch as the first stage touches down on landing zone 1.
Landing leg deployed. Stage 1 landing confirmed.
Wow, an awesome view of
And a picture-perfect nighttime pad landing for that Falcon 9.
on landing zone 1.
Moving ahead, here we see a couple of the 40 OneWeb satellites being deployed.
Great news. There you can see on your screen
OneWeb, SAT Echo 4, separation confirmed.
several satellites drifting away from Falcon 9.
Acquisition of signal of Vandenberg.
I must say, OneWeb has had a long and colorful road, going through bankruptcy, being bailed out by the British government, partially by the British government and a major Indian investor, and having their primary launch platform, the Soyuz, yanked out from under them by Roscosmos as a response to sanctions due to the Ukraine war, then having to reconnect with alternative launch providers, ISRO and SpaceX, but they've persisted, and good for them for doing so. But hey, there's another one. All right. Now on Tuesday, it was ABL Space Systems' turn. After numerous delays and a couple of last-second pad aborts, they finally launched their RS-1 rocket for the first time from Kodiak Island, Alaska. On board were 2 small sats for Omnitech. There was no live stream, but they did tweet this brief pad cam view. They also released this image of the rocket in flight. Unfortunately, the launch was not successful. Shortly after liftoff, all 9 engines shut down prematurely, causing the rocket to fall back down and explode on the launch pad. Although ABL didn't give a time or altitude for the shutdown, it could have only been a few seconds, or the rocket would have started to pitch downrange, and it wouldn't have fallen on the pad, it would have fallen in the water. The launch facility was damaged by the explosion, but there were no personnel injured, as they were, of course, kept at a safe distance. Following the incident, the company stated that this is not the outcome we were hoping for today, but one that we were prepared for. So best of luck to ABL on their next attempt. On Wednesday, NASA and Roscosmos provided an update on the Soyuz MS-22 coolant leak that happened back in December, and what will be done to safely return the crew. Tests conducted by Roscosmos reinforced their belief that the leak was caused by a micrometeoroid about 1 millimeter in diameter, traveling around 7 kilometers per second, or 15,000 miles per hour. Whatever it was, rock or metal, it originated from low Earth orbit. If it had been orbiting the Sun and intersected Earth, it would have been moving around 8 times faster. Aside from the leaked ammonia coolant, the rest of the Soyuz MS-22 vehicle and the ISS look good. No other issues have been found. Soyuz will be returned with no crew, as it has been deemed unsafe. They do not plan to burn it up over the Pacific. They're going to try to land it in Kazakhstan, intact per normal procedures. The vehicle may overheat, since it has no more coolant. The crew cabin may reach the high 30s to low 40s Celsius, that's over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. But Soyuz has several layers of redundancy. Even if the computers fail, Soyuz can still re-enter in analog mode, like the old days. The Soyuz MS-23 vehicle, which was planned to launch the next expedition crew in late March, will be launched with no crew on or around February 20th, so the 3 stranded ISS crew members can return. They plan to undock and land Soyuz MS-23 a week or 2 after it arrives. Throughout the situation, it's been emphasized that at no point was there any danger to the crew. They've been going about their duties normally, with the exception of the canceled Russian spacewalk the day of the leak. Back here on Earth, last Thursday, a Long March 2C launched from Xichang with the APSTAR 6E geostationary satellite that will provide high-throughput telecommunications to the Southeast Asia region. guess that's all we get. All right. Friday, Long March 2D launched from Jiuquan with Yaogan 37 and Xi'an 22 A and B remote sensing satellites. Yaogan 37 will be used mainly for new tech such as space environment monitoring. China seems to launch a lot of those. And in-orbit verification experiments. Xi'an 22A will be used for land surveying, urban planning, and disaster mitigation, while Xi'an 22B will detect smog, monitor water pollution, crop growth, and land resources. Nice sound on that one. Finally, earlier today, a Long March 2D launched from a somewhat snowy Taiyuan Satellite Launch Center with 14 small satellites. And that rounds out the events of the past couple of weeks. Now, looking ahead to this week, today, Sunday, January 15th at 5:56 p.m. Eastern, 22:56 UTC, is the launch of a SpaceX Falcon Heavy, we love those, with the USS F-67 mission for the U.S. Space Force. Now, the payload is pretty much top secret, but we will get to see the launch. We will not get to see the satellite separation because of the classified nature of the mission, but we'll also get to see the 2 booster landings. And possibly, now I do not know, let's see, I do not know if the core stage will be landing on the drone ship or whether it will be expended this time like it was last time. But I think the last Falcon Heavy launch was also for the U.S. Space Force, and I think they did expend the core stage. So kind of anticipating that's what will happen this time as well. On Wednesday, and I will be streaming that. I will be streaming the Falcon Heavy launch. I just need to create the stream for it, which I will do so as soon as I'm done with SpaceWeek. Because I can't do both at once. On Wednesday, January 18th at 7 a.m. Eastern, 1200 UTC, SpaceX Falcon 9 will launch from Cape Canaveral with the GPS-3 SV06 GPS satellite for the U.S. And that is a 6th generation, well, it is the 6th third generation GNSS, the Global Navigation System satellite for the GPS system. And that'll be headed for medium Earth orbit, which is rough. Well, the GPS satellites are roughly half geostationary, so maybe 10,000 miles up, something like that. And so there should be a long coast phase on that one because it's headed for a very high altitude. And the satellite is not classified, so we should be able to see it deploy if they have video coverage at the time. I will not be covering that launch, and so you can watch it on SpaceX's channel. That happens right in the morning when I'm going to be getting my kids to school, so that won't be feasible for me. On Thursday, January 19th at 10:32 p.m. Eastern, or 03:32 UTC on the 20th, is another SpaceX launch of Starlink 2.4. This was delayed from last week. And they'll be launching another 51 Starlink internet satellites into a high inclination orbit of about 70 degrees. And the booster will be, this will be launching from Vandenberg in California. And the first stage booster will be landing on a drone ship. So that, aside from the new moon on Saturday, which is the actual timestamp for the newness of the new moon is 20:55 UTC, or 8:55 p.m. UTC. But yeah, so if you want to do any stargazing, this Saturday would be a good time to do it, or any time close there too, because the moon will be all but invisible. So that is actually it for the coming week. Now I want to take a moment to thank my channel supporters. Obviously, we do not have monetization anymore, again or ever. So there's no memberships, there's no custom emojis, there's no super chats, there's no merch shelf integrated in with the with the YouTube platform because of the YouTube shenanigans. But there are still support options if you wish to do so. There is Patreon, PayPal, and of course the Walmart merch store, which I'm linking in the chat. Let me get to your questions. Hopefully the script was able to do its thing. All right. Today, yes, we have questions. Okay. MD5632. Hi, Raw Space. Sorry to hear about the bad news regarding the channel. That's appreciated. Yeah, YouTube is, oh my gosh. They have become so bad. Like, even outside the creator sphere, even just as a user, the algorithm is so messed up. Like, like my Raw Space account, my brand account, as it's called, I curate my algorithm very, very carefully. If I ever accidentally watch a non-space related video while logged in as Raw Space, I go back immediately and delete it from my view history so that the only videos I ever watch on this account are very strictly space related, or science, or some of the music I listen to. But like on my other, like on my personal account, oh my gosh, even though I do not watch like the sort of vapid, kid-oriented, annoying content that YouTube seems to love so much, they keep recommending it to me. Like, I don't want to watch that crap, but they keep recommending it to me. I'll say 100 times, I'll say, not interested, do not like this video. It doesn't matter. The YouTube algorithm does not care. They take that information and chuck it in the trash. So I don't know, like, what kind of crack they're on down there at YouTube headquarters, but they are not responding to either creator needs or user needs whatsoever. And And it's unfortunate because this is the 800-pound gorilla platform. Like, there is no other video platform that even remotely comes close to the audience size and ubiquity of YouTube. This is it. It's a monopoly, essentially. You know, Yoda What says I should go to the Nebula platform. I mean, you know, there are other video platforms, but there is nothing that can even remotely compete with YouTube as far as reach, you know, and potential audience. But Yoda What also says, it sounds like someone out there is gunning for you, maybe lodging complaints. That's possible. I mean, I have no visibility into that. YouTube certainly isn't going to tell me if someone is reporting me, or, you know, who knows? Maybe there's a campaign by flat earthers to discredit space channels. And because I'm, you know, one of the older channels that does like live launch streaming, maybe I just have crosshairs on me. Or who knows? I mean, maybe I did something wrong at some point and YouTube is holding a very long grudge because my numbers have been dwindling for years, honestly. MVM Motovlog Music. Raw Space, thank you for being true to yourself. Yours is my favorite community. Thank you for that. And y'all are my favorite community as well. The community that we've built here over the past 5 years is really what has kept me going. And like, I wouldn't even have bothered with those hundreds and hundreds of launches and the now almost 150 SpaceWeek episodes, as well as the other things, if not for the community nature of the interaction I get with you folks. It's really valuable and means a lot to me. Let's see. MVM Motovlog Music. Will SpaceX attempt to land all 3 boosters today? So again, I'm not sure if they are going to land the core stage or expend it. That depends on the needs of the thrust needs of the satellite they're launching. And so I guess we'll find out shortly. Cody Ruthko. Ross Bates. That's absolute BS what they're doing to your channel. Sorry to hear about that, duder. Well, thank you for your concern. And I'm sorry to, I know that YouTube and I don't get along, but my real regret is that my decisions, like to sort of scale back on my live streaming, are resulting in inconvenience and disappointment for the viewers and regulars here, which makes me feel bad, and I'm very sorry for that. But there is a significant mental well-being component here that I have to bear in mind. I have to do what's best for my own sanity, and if the situation, the complicated situation with YouTube, is being detrimental to my well-being, then I've got to do something about that. But for now, here we are in SpaceWeek. MD5632. Who knows, Raw Space, how soon the first taikonaut will be standing on the moon? That's true. China is headed for the moon. I'm not sure when they'll go there, but they definitely have their sights set on it. Also, MD5632. In fact, there have been quite a number of rocket launches in Western Europe in the 1940s, Raw Space. So I don't think those were orbital launches. I mean, Sputnik launched in the late 1950s. What was it, 57? But as far as orbital launches, yeah, I'm not so sure. I don't think Western Europe has hosted any of those, but I could be mistaken. I didn't dig too deeply into that statistic. Ian Stobie offers an up arrow. Thank you, sir. Maria C. Kutujan says, Hola, Your treasures are your valuable videos. Thumbs up. Thank you. And you know what? I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce Portuguese right now, but good evening to you, and thank you. Yoda, what? Algorithm says, you have kids, you will like kid vids. The AI has spoken. Maybe. But my kids, they're not infants, they're teenagers. So, you know, if anything, I should be getting videos for, you know, whatever, angsty teen stuff. All right. So it looks like that's all the questions we've got for the moment. Thank you all so much for coming and sticking with me. Hopefully you enjoyed this week's episode. Now, as soon as this is done, I don't have a link for you yet. Oh, Caden Plays has a question. How did you become a big YouTuber? I kind of need some advice. This is from Caden Plays with a Z. So, well, nobody starts out big, as it were, although big is relative. There are approximately 300,000 YouTube channels with more than 100,000 subscribers. And so 100,000 may seem like a lot, and it is. But there are a lot of channels out there who are, you know, either at that point or beyond. And so the channel started, very brief history, the channel started back in early 2017 when I uploaded some old Apollo videos that I had. And I didn't think anything of it. I just uploaded them. I thought they were cool. I wanted to put them somewhere. YouTube was available, so I created the channel. And I kind of forgot about it for a few months until later that year when I remembered my space channel. And I went back and took a look at it and discovered that I had almost 1,000 subscribers and a couple 100,000 views on the Apollo 11 launch video. I was like, wow, there's a market for this, that people are interested in this. And so over the next few months, as you recall, in February of 2018 is when SpaceX launched their first Falcon Heavy with Starman. And thereafter, I started experimenting with live streams and with posting other videos. And that's basically when it all got started for real, in earnest. And you know, we've been going ever since. I've had a 24/7 music stream running for almost 5 years now, and I've restreamed, I should say. I don't even know how many hundreds of launches, maybe 600 or 700 launches, something like that, some ridiculous number. But yeah, persistence and providing something that people are interested in. But honestly, and I can say this from long experience, there is a lot of luck involved in becoming successful on YouTube. You can produce amazing videos and provide compelling content or provide a useful service and still not get the recognition that you deserve, because the YouTube algorithm is very unpredictable and inconsistent. You know, so one stream, like one of my biggest streams was just showing a trajectory graphic of a live trajectory graphic of a Chinese booster that was going to deorbit somewhere. There were, you know, like maybe 15,000 concurrent viewers on the stream. The video was viewed like over 1 million times, but there really wasn't any useful content in it. Whereas SpaceWeek, I put hours of work into preparing for it every week, and then I do a live stream, you know, every week with questions answered, etc. Yet over the past couple of years, you know, or the last 3+ years, in fact, SpaceWeek has consistently been the least viewed live streams on my channel. So that kind of stings, but I still think that it's a valuable service, and I'm glad that y'all are here. But anyway, long-winded response. We have some more questions. Okay, Siberian Gal Pal says, Howl.io. I'll have to look into that. Arnaknud says, ask YouTube if they want their 100K subs plaque back. That might get their attention. That's amusing, but no, they would not care in the least. Geraldine Braun says, did you see the green comet? No, I haven't seen any comets recently. In fact, the best comet we've had recently was Neowise, which was it last year or the year before? And I only got to see it very briefly through my camera. I couldn't even see it with the naked eye because for the whole month it was visible to the naked eye. I had clouds every single night. It was maddening. Like I would go out there, clouds. Go out there the next night, clouds. Clouds, clouds, clouds for a whole month until finally the clouds cleared. And by that time, I couldn't see it. And I was able to point my camera to its location in the sky and take a long exposure photo of where it was supposed to be. And I did find it, but I couldn't see it with my naked eye. I could only see it in the photo that my camera took. So comets, and Halley's Comet back in the 80s, because I'm kind of old, back in the 80s when Comet Halley last visited, clouds. You know, I lived in Oregon at the time, so we didn't get to see that either. The only comet I have seen, I should say the only spectacular comet that I've ever seen was Hale-Bopp in 1996, 1997, which was amazing. I took one photo of it. This was back in my Air Force days. It wasn't that spectacular a photo, but it was such a spectacular comet. It was huge in the sky. It was visible during twilight easily, sometimes during the daytime. And you could see it for literally months. It was naked eye visible. And, you know, there were a couple of sort of great comets, they call them, after that, but they were in the southern hemisphere. So, so we northerners didn't get to see those. But I hope desperately for some, you know, either previously unknown or some other long period comet to come swooping in and dazzle us in the northern hemisphere sometime in my lifetime, because comets are really an amazing thing to behold. You know, maybe not so much when they're teeny tiny and dim, but if they're big and bright. All right. Julian, do you think NASA or SpaceX and Japan partner for building cities on the moon or Mars? Well, I certainly think that JAXA, the Japanese Space Agency, would be involved in, or would be at the very top of a very short list of international partners to participate in a moon base or Mars base mission. You know, NASA has worked very closely with JAXA for a very long time, and you know, both JAXA and the ESA would certainly be involved in such a mission. As for establishing cities, I think we are centuries away from that, perhaps. It's going to be a long time before we have enough launch capacity and resources in place to host a large number of people on any place other than Earth. Ian Stobie says, try Substack. So there's some suggestions coming in via the chat for other platforms and things like that. I'm going to go ahead and paste the link to Discord. If you have any suggestions for me, because it's going to be difficult to look back through this live chat log, if you would, go to the Raw Space Discord server, and there's a channel suggestions section in there. If you could go ahead and register, and you know, if you're not already, and then leave your messages there, then I can refer back to them, and that would be helpful. Or if you wish, you could email me at rawspacevideos@gmail.com and send it to me that way. All right. So looks like that's, again, all the questions we have for the moment. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up so that I can real quick prepare the Falcon Heavy stream, kind of last minute, and hope to see you all in a few minutes. So go to the Raw Space page and refresh in about 5 minutes. I should have the Falcon Heavy stream ready to go. So thank you all once again, and see you on the flip side.